host of Aaron's Hour, Aaron Phillips.
And good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Aaron's Hour with Aaron Phillips. I'm coming to you live from the WWDBTV studios in the heart of Las Vegas, Nevada. If you want to know what I said, you got to rewind this video like the old record players. That's right. Aaron Phillips coming to you from the worldwide digital broadcasting studios in Las Vegas. I appreciate you making me part of your day today. What is today's date? Today is Super Bowl Eve, February 11th.
That's right.
And we'll get into some, hello, Jennifer out in Hawaii. We'll get into some plans and stuff. Joining me here today on my show, I felt very lonely in studio today. So I have George Miklos, the mouth of the round table, joins me. No, I asked George to come here today because his wife said, I need him to do something. Please get him out of the house.
Pretty much.
So I said, okay, I can help kill an hour for today. So George is here today to guest host with me because our guest today coming up after my first break is none other than stuntman, actor, Mr. Anthony Pagliaro Jr., not to be confused with senior, junior.
That's right.
He'll probably correct me that he just doesn't want even the junior there, but that's okay. He's from upstate New York, so I get the East Coast mentality. It's all good. He'll be joining us on the other side of the break. He's going to share with us his current projects. He's an actor, stuntman, former Air Force guy, karates. He'll beat the crap out of you if you look at him wrong. We'll talk about all that in his history, but more importantly, his current project that he's got going on. And we'll share all of that after the break. But George, how are you, sir, today?
I'm alive and kicking, and I appreciate you inviting me in. I wasn't expecting it.
Well, listen, surprises are what they're supposed to be, aren't they? Anyway, as always, I like to go over some of the stuff that goes on in Vegas. I think are we using that new title, Mr. John, yet?
I think so.
All right.
I think we should.
You think so?
Yeah.
This is going to
We'll have an intro for it next week.
There you go. Do we need a voiceover guy for it? Anyway.
I'm available.
That's right. So everybody knows I like to do this stuff and talk about some of the news and notes around. Primarily, they're all about Las Vegas. And John and I decided to name this, and you'll recognize the name, paying homage to my former 7-year partner on Vegas Unwrapped, Mr. Ricky Cash. This segment is now going to be known as Vegas Unwrapped.
Oh, that's cool.
You like that? That was John's idea. I got to give credit where credit is due.
That's very cool.
The only thing is you can't play the old theme song because otherwise the folks from The Odd Couple would really get pissed off at us. Anyway.
I got something.
Oh, great. Great. Okay. Now, one of the things I always like to do is share about all the wonderful winnings in town, even though people win and I share those wonderful things. I do have to remind everybody that comes here, this town was not built on winners traditionally.
That's for sure.
Right? And certainly as someone who lives here for almost 25 years, most of the money ain't coming from me, if you know what I'm saying. So I like to share some of the winnings from last week to this week. So I'm going to get started. Apparently Caesar's Palace is really hopping, especially off hours. Did you know for the second time in a week, this past week alone, that the early bird has caught the winning worm? That's right. I said it here first, and actually second because it was in the article. 4 a.m., a wonderful lucky player hit for $125,000 jackpot playing in the middle of the night at Caesars. So
was he playing a slot machine? Or
you know what? It didn't say I guess.
Because I know some of those posts that you have, they show that
they usually tell us. Let's
machines.
See what it says here. It says it was a 6-figure jackpot while playing a slot machine.
Wow, Jesus. It's a mindless slot machine. All you got to do is put the money in and pull.
No, you're not even pulling it. You're just pushing a button.
Yeah, it's just amazing.
And fake money comes out of the bottom. I miss the real sounds of the clinkety clinking coming out of the bottom. But one thing that's missing from that story, the other side of the story, though, is how much people actually spend to put in the machine to win that jackpot that day.
Right.
But what they're really missing is the total amount of money they spent the years and years trying to win just that one jackpot.
Right. And over time, I imagine it could add up. But if you just came in there and came off the airplane and went in there and put a couple $100 in the machine and then bam, okay.
Well, I have a story just like that coming up in a little bit for beginners. Actually, it's not even here in Vegas. But here's something very close to that, though. A man playing poker. He was playing the I Love Sweets poker again at Harrah's, another Caesars property. This gentleman, his name was, James Grimes from Fairfield, Ohio. Within 30 minutes, hit for $124,000, only playing for 30 minutes here in Las Vegas. That's it. He owns a bar in Fairfield. Plans to use his money to pay off debt, and help out his family.
That's the best way to do
30
it.
minutes.
To do.
I wonder how long he was actually in town for. Because if you're in town for a week and you win within 30 minutes, you can't tell me you don't have the itch to keep playing.
Yeah.
Right.
How much did he put back?
You cash out, and then if you want to keep a couple grand and try it again, in that case, I guess so.
I remember one time in Atlantic City, my wife and I went down to, I think it was Trump Plaza, who was Jerry Seinfeld we went to see. We were there for a weekend. We went to dinner the night of this was Friday. The show was Saturday. We went to dinner maybe 30 minutes after dinner. My wife was playing for 5 minutes, and she hit for $250.
Hey.
And I had to tackle her from getting back on that machine because you know what? $250 paid for the room, paid for my dinner, and money to go home with.
Right. I was waiting
She
for
was
you to
not
say
happy.
250,000.
No. If it was 250,000, George, I wouldn't be sitting here with you. I like you, but I wouldn't be sitting here with you. I'd be doing something else with money. But for $250, yeah, my wife was ready to beat the daylights out of me.
It was an easy night out.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and they paid for it.
Yeah.
So
that's the best
win
way.
and go home is the bottom line.
Use their money to have a good
That's
weekend.
right. Exactly. Stroke of beginner's luck propelled a man from Wisconsin. Sorry, Jennifer, I have no Hawaii winners this week. Timothy Rossler won $117,000 this past Monday playing Ultimate Texas Hold'em at Harrah's Las Vegas. Again, another Harrah's property. He was playing the game for the first time, landed the win after just 1 hour of playing.
Now, in that particular case, I was going to say you have to have some skill to play card games. He said it was his first time playing it. I wonder if he had practice or went online to learn how to play the game, or was it just pure
But it doesn't say that.
happenstance
But it
luck?
doesn't say that it was a table game of Texas Hold'em, or if it
Over
was
the
a video game.
machine.
It does not say that. So,
Still,
yeah. So there you go. See, it doesn't take long to win. It's a lot. It takes a lot quicker to lose, though. That's for
God.
damn sure.
I've
takes,
done
right?
that. A few
So-
$100 gone in 15, 20 minutes. I've
That
done
long?
That. I've done that. Oh yeah, well yeah. I've seen people do it.
You know what's amazed me, and our guest Anthony, I'd love to get his take on this when we bring him on. For years, I used to tell people don't play in the airport because the airport's always your worst odds, right? They have a captured audience.
I would think so.
You're not going anywhere. You got to wait for the plane that's 3 hours late, or you're walking through. Your luggage is a half hour coming up. They got all those machines and
Waiting
baggage
for
claim.
you.
But you know what I've been reading over the last years? There have been a lot of winnings in the airport this year.
Hey, it's luck. It is. That's what they call it. You have to have some knowledge of the games here and there, but
Of
it's
slot machines, what kind of knowledge is
Well,
that?
not
You push
even
the button here?
right. But if you see like if you're playing Deuces Wild, which is what I like to do, you'd like to try to figure out how to, you don't. Some people don't know how to replay. Well, should I keep this one? Should I?
Oh,
keep
you're
that
talking
one?
about a poker game.
Yeah,
The-
poker or
Some
Deuces
study.
Wild.
Yeah. So I think I shared this the other night. I don't know if I remember what I shared, but I went in to pick up a friend at the airport a couple of weeks ago, went into the building. I was really early. So I'm walking around, and I like to play the slots with the 5 lines. To me, those are always fun because you always have a pretty good chance of winning something when you max out playing all 5 lines.
Right.
I took a $10 bill out.
Okay.
Just one machine I'm walking by says, "Hey, you come over here."
Right.
So I'm like, great.
Hey, you.
So I put the $10 bill in. I played a couple of things. I got nothing. Then all of a sudden, I hit for 20 quarters. I played 25 cents.
Okay.
A couple of quarters here and there, spitting. Then all of a sudden, I hit. Ding, 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 ding. And I'm waiting for it to stop at maybe 40. All right, doesn't stop. It goes to 60. 1,600 quarters. I walked out of there with $318.
Hey.
Now,
and you
how much
switched to
did
the
I
airport?
keep in my wallet? 18, because the other 300 went to my wife when I got home.
Of course.
But
Of
again,
course.
another win at the airport.
Hey.
318 bucks, at least it was for a local. Now, here's what's really been intriguing the last couple of weeks. I actually have some great stories of people winning lotteries in their home state.
Yeah, I think I know which one you're going to pull out.
So I actually have 2, believe it or not, from Virginia playing the same rip-off tickets. So
Okay.
this one is pretty cool. This lady went into a local supermarket. Her name was Fawn Hughes. She was going into she went in to buy a can of soup.
Right. That's all.
Can
these
of
people
soup
there
for
over
her
there
sister.
buying one thing.
Right, her sister was not well, right? So she goes in. This was January 15th, and I guess she wanted anonymity till now. Virginia Lottery's Cash 5 with the easy match game, okay? Winning numbers were 9, 11, how ironic, 15, 26, 35. Are you ready for this? $148,560 later for buying just a can of soup.
Right. Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Now, not to be outdone, the same Virginia lottery system. Okay. This gentleman's name was Jerry Camp. He was doing a little shopping after cashing in. According to Virginia Lottery, playing Cash 5 with the Easy Match game. Same game. You ready for this? January 8th drawing won the top prize of $100,000. Oh, and $2, by the way. And I think this gentleman has the best line of the century when he says, now after winning $100,000, I guess I can buy me some eggs now. So there you have it. Yes, you certainly can. I love it. So you can buy some eggs. That's for darn sure, right? Last but not least, talk about beginner's luck. You were talking about that earlier.
This is the big one.
How old in most states, and I don't know probably 18 at the least.
I would think there might be some states maybe under 21. I don't know how many there are, but
Canada? Do you know anything about Canada?
No, I don't.
Well,
but there you go.
Here you go. You ready for this one? An 18-year-old in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, in Canada.
Okay.
18, playing her first slot machine.
Ever. Okay.
She became the country of Canada's youngest person to win a jackpot of, I want to see if it mentions how much he's paid. $48 million, ladies and gentlemen. There it is.
Phone number?
Yeah, exactly. She is single, John, but you're not. But 18, first time ever to buy her first ever lottery. 48 million. Now, I don't know what the Canadian version is to the dollar, so I don't really know what that
I know in the
converts
United States, if somebody won 48 million, when you win a lottery like that, you can expect to receive after taxes and after this and after around 25 to 30%.
But don't you have an option, though, of taking it in a lump sum versus
in the
payouts?
U.S.? Yes. I don't know. Each state's different. I don't know how the country of Canada is, but yes, you can take it.
Lump sum or
if you
payouts,
take a lump sum, then they only give you about half of it.
Right. But if you get the payouts over 20 years.
Yeah. And in her
and
case,
you're 18, that's what I would have done.
Well, no, I would always take the lump sum. I want them out of the picture immediately. Yeah. And God forbid, you're able to leave it to someone too. If you took the annual payments, there's you can leave it to someone if you were unfortunately able to die or something.
Sure.
Yeah, no, I would take it all.
See, if I took it all, I'd have the concern I'd spend it way too fast.
Well, no, you just turn around and lock some of it up and then live off 2 or 3% interest. You don't even need a lot of
2 or 3%. Where the hell do you put your money for that kind of interest rate?
When you got that kind of money, you don't need any more. You just throw it in the bank.
That's right.
2%. That's enough to 20, 30, 40, 50 grand a month if you can't live off of that.
Hookers and blow.
I was going to say something to that effect, but it's Aaron's hour.
Yes. Everybody will have their own vices when it comes to how to spend $48 million.
Now, see, when John said that, maybe 40 years ago, maybe I would have done that.
Right.
Now, no. Different. I just want.
Besides, your wife Denise would kill you.
That too. I just want peace of mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
And giving her a pile of it, would be peace of mind.
Honey, go do what you want. Leave me alone. That's all.
I'm going to go buy a football team. I'll be back.
You can't buy a team for $48 million.
You can't buy 5% of it.
I was going to say, you can't even buy a partnership.
Player for that.
No, you can't at all. At least not for 1 year anyway. By the way, before we go to break, I do want to extend a special shout out to my niece, Gavi. She's celebrating a birthday today back east in New Jersey. Happy birthday, my dear niece, my eldest niece. Tomorrow's Super Bowl Sunday, and we'll get into more of this a little later, but you have plans for tomorrow? What are you doing for Super Bowl?
I am sitting on the couch, the best seat in the house. We're ordering pizza from the best place in Las Vegas. And
where's that in your mind?
According to the Las Vegas Review-Journal, Sal's Pizza on the corner of Pecos and Windmill in Henderson.
Marsigliano's.
Well, no, that's up there too. I've only eaten there once though, and it's on the other side of the world for me.
Well,
but according to the Review-Journal, Sal's, we just happen to be right down the street, a block.
Oh, well, that's convenient. I understand that.
Yeah.
I understand that. I'll be at my dad's girlfriend's house, just Eileen and I, my dad, a friend of mine, and there'll be 5 of us, just finger foods and pizza and who the hell knows what.
That's the best place
and
to
if
be.
Rafi doesn't bring chocolate cake for dessert, my wife will kill him. Anyway, with that, we're going to step aside for our first break because as much as I've enjoyed this, I'm watching our guest Anthony on hold on video, and thank goodness he's laughing at my really bad jokes. So we'll hopefully have him come on and laugh in person. Anyway, you're watching Aaron's Hour. If George doesn't cut that out, he won't be back on the other side of the break. But our guest, he is stuntman, actor, martial arts expert, Air Force, you name it, all around good guy. Mr. Anthony Pagliaro will join us on the other side of the break. Aaron's Hour, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
This is the story of one man's incredible journey from 350 to 200-pound weight loss, and his mission to help and inspire others. Aaron Phillips. People are praising Aaron's new book with 5-star reviews. Aaron's various humorous and wildly entertaining stories portray his rise as a sports announcer, his encounters with exotic and irregular entertainers on the Las Vegas Strip through his long-running Vegas Unwrapped radio show, and his contagious and positive style of pursuing success. Call now or visit our website or Amazon now to get your copy of Let My Voice Speak to You, stories from a Hall of Fame radio personality. Order now.
I'm Miss Murder, and I have a question for you. Have you ever explored the beauty in horror? I'm Mercedes M. Yardley, known as Miss Murder. I'm a dark fantasist who wears poisonous flowers in my hair. Among my many titles, I'm the author of the Stabby award-winning book titled Apocalyptic Montessa and Nuclear Lulu, A Tale of Atomic Love, as well as winning the prestigious Bram Stoker Award for my novella, Little Dead Red. My short story, Loving You Darkly, also received a Bram Stoker nomination. Check out all of my titles at www.mercedesmyardley.com, where I remind you that all things are dark.
Hi, I'm George Miklos.
Hi, I'm Rick Upchurch.
Hi, I'm Aaron Phillips, and we are
The Round Table.
Check us out
Thursdays at 4 p.m. Pacific Time Live.
on Facebook page as well as WWDBTV. All right, welcome back. Look, we just seemed like we were superimposed from that commercial now to this set.
Wow,
You're watching
that's
Aaron's
weird.
Hour. By the way, I want to welcome everybody and thank you all for watching, whether it's here on Facebook, whether it's on the YouTube channel for WWDBTV.com. Of course, if you got to take us on the go, do so. Use your Android app and download the WWDBTV app to your phone. If you have an Apple product, WWDBTV LV to your phone. And of course, if you missed the show and anything that Anthony has to say, because that's really the important guy going to be saying anything of importance on the show, you can go back to any of those sites as well as the WWDBTV Roku channel for those of you on Roku. And while you're out there checking this show out, listen, there's a plethora of shows here on the network that you should check out, as they are all great shows for your entertainment and enjoyment. With that, on video, coming to us from upstate New York, because it's a beautiful part of the country. When everybody ever says New York, everybody thinks of Manhattan and everything else.
That's
Let me
right.
tell you, upstate New York is beautiful. He is joining us now. He is Mr. Anthony Pagliaro. Good morning, sir. How are you? Or good afternoon, actually.
Good morning, afternoon, whatever you want to call it, even though I just woke up 2.5 hours ago.
Actors are all the same. Getting up halfway through the day. So
Typecasting.
typecast. Well, am I wrong?
You are correct.
There you go. So, Anthony, thank you for joining us up there. Appreciate it. Been a while since you and I have had an opportunity to catch up. I'm anxious to hear what's going on. But, I first want to, just as I mentioned during the first segment, you're actor, stuntman, former Air Force, by the way. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Definitely appreciate that. Martial arts. Do you still teach martial arts, by the way?
I was on the side, but now with doing the acting full time and stunt work, I really don't have a lot of time.
So let me just let our audience know some of the roles that you've had and some of the shows that you've been on, so that people know before we get into what you've got coming up. You've appeared in movies such as Squealer. You were playing an ER nurse. You were appearing in Locksmith, taking the role of a lead stand-in and as a featured police officer. You've made appearances in Better Call Saul, The Space Between Us. What else here? The Magnificent Seven. Playing a gunslinger. Now there's a Western terminology for you, right? The gunslinger.
I like Westerns.
And, I think what's interesting about that is the line in your bio where you talk about that and you say you're really not necessarily in it for the big role. You're in it for the enjoyment because you love being on the set. Why is that important to you versus getting the name in lights, the big name in the marquee?
Honestly, I never pictured myself being where I'm at right now. I grew up going back and forth between my parents. My parents divorced when I was 1.5 years old. I grew up in a very mental abusive environment. So I just giving back and being around in that environment, feeling like the family, feeling just welcomed, I think is just a big thing. Just being somewhere where everybody says hi to you, they talk to you, they treat you like a normal person. I think that's just the biggest feeling.
Guys, so kind of like that sense of community and acceptance.
Correct. Yes.
One of the things you talked about early on is you started dabbling in voices, and one of the first voices you played around with was Tigger from Winnie the Pooh. Did you do it with your own little twist, or was it your actual impersonation of the Tigger we would hear on the cartoon?
It was just an impersonation of the Tigger you hear in the cartoon. I just would run around the house and just do his voice. I don't know. It was just something I liked. And my mom actually nicknamed me Tigger when I was growing up because I could never sit still.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Do you do any other voices?
I do. I do some Elmo and just other like baby cries and things like that.
Gotcha. Do you do any voices?
No, I do not really anybody that not really voices. I was never into that kind of thing. I can do some sounds like babies crying, like Anthony mentioned, and other little stuff like that.
Yep. Trouble just being George Miklos.
That's
But
it.
anyway, so I presume though, then growing up with that entertainment ability of voices and stuff, were you like the neighborhood entertainer to like make the kids laugh in school and all that? Were you the jokester in school?
I was always the one that could make people smile, make them laugh, no matter what kind of, if they were upset, if they were angry, if they were mad. They're like, hold on a minute, let's go get Anthony. Let's calm this situation down. But a lot of people ask me, or they come up to me, they're like, how'd you get into fighting? You were always the one that would walk away from fights or talk to the people or just laugh. How did you make that switch? And I'm like, hey, I just wanted to give it a shot.
I think sometimes, when you think outside the box for yourself is when you really begin to learn about yourself. Is that a fair statement?
Very, very fair statement.
What's the biggest thing that you could say that you've learned over the years since you've allowed yourself to step outside of the box and do something like this? Give me a couple of things that you've learned about yourself since you got into acting and the martial arts and such.
I think that the biggest thing that I've noticed about myself is I have a very big and strong heart.
Okay.
It takes patience. I would have to say patience is probably another big thing.
Okay.
Stepping into the cage or doing the training or being in acting, you have to have a lot of patience. As he probably knows, being on set, you're there just sitting there. Sometimes you use a minute, sometimes you're there the whole day, sometimes, it just depends.
That's funny you mentioned that, Anthony. I just did 14 hours last week on the new Mark Wahlberg film. So I understand sitting around and getting bored. And then out of those 14 hours, you might actually work 4 or 5 of them, maybe. And then the rest of the time you're sitting networking and hanging out with people and doing stuff like that. So I did have one question.
Yeah,
if it's okay.
please. Absolutely.
You live in upstate New York. I live in Vegas, so I still live about 300 miles from LA. It's only 4 hours. In the old days, 30 years ago, when I first got in the business, you had to live in LA or in New York City to even make it in the business, to even get calls to go out on auditions. If they saw a out-of-state area code on your phone, they didn't even call you. Now it's a little different, but still LA and New York are the hub. How do you audition for stuff if you're living up in northern New York? Do you just, you can use the internet now. Do you have an agency online that you submit yourself to, and do they actually pick you knowing where you might live?
So I was actually down in New Mexico. I was there, and that's how I started really getting and dabbling into the acting and stand-in work and actually getting the roles. The one I did with Squealer, I actually, after I got done doing that, I was a stand-in on that movie. I was the lead stand, and the director and the assistant director I've worked with on previous films before, and they're like, "Hey, Anthony, you know how they do stand-ins. We're going to throw you into this part." I'm like, "Okay, you can, sure, why not?" And I get thrown into it, and they're like, "All right, now we want you to say this," and I'm like, "What? What do you mean say?" So I went in there, and they told me the part, and I had to memorize the lines within 5 minutes. They're like, here's a script, read it, memorize it, and then go do it. I'm like, I need longer than 5 minutes. So after that, I actually started applying to agencies, to managers, and I actually got picked up by the number 2 agent in New Mexico. And that's how I do my auditions now. I let her do all the work. She sends me auditions. I send them back to her. She submits them. And then I picked up a manager who does, the manager money stuff. But it's so
they didn't recommend that you move to the big hubs, LA, New York, maybe Atlanta now.
Oh, not at all. If you have an agent or a manager, it doesn't matter where you are or what you're doing. Like, I have a lot of actor friends now that it's so weird that I can actually call them and I have their personal numbers. You know, they're A-listers and B-listers. I'm like, there's no, I can't believe I can just go, hey, I got a question, or hey, what are you doing?
Right. No, that's a good thing.
Yeah. But
And with technology being what it is now, you know, people have studios in their house. You know, voiceover actors turned a closet into a studio. Like you said, you know, you can do a lot of those auditions. Look, we're sitting in a studio here. If somebody needed something to be done, I'm sure that the studio could be made available to do whatever's needed. So technology is so different when applying for opportunities. And you've just talked about how you have to be ready to be flexible for anything that you're asked to do while you're standing around for 14 hours.
Right.
You know, you never know where you're going to get thrown for that opportunity.
Right. There's always tricks to the trade. I remember, I mean, you might be familiar with this with Anthony. When you're on a movie set, I always tried to, especially if I wasn't actually in a speaking role, if I was doing background or stuff like that, I would watch some of the assistant or the second AD. When they start looking at the crowd, they're looking for something. So I remember one time in the movie Undisputed, the boxing film, it's about 20 years old now, Ving Rhames and Wesley Snipes. Walter Hill was the director, a great director. But I remember one day I was one of like 300 prisoners, just another face. This was like the first or second day of shooting. Now I saw the second AD, they were looking around at people. So I told my friend, come with me, man. We're going to go up front. I didn't care what it was. I just wanted to be noticed, whatever they were looking for. Bam, you come with me. Boom, we were made prison guards on that film. It was a 6-week shoot. We were one of 12 instead of one of 400. And I actually got a line in that film because of it. So that's little tricks like that. I don't know if you're familiar with that kind of stuff, but I'm sure you've seen it and understand it.
You know, it's hard because I did a lot of background work or DG work. I did a lot. I moved up to stand-in. And I was getting work like crazy being a stand-in. But after I got that role, my agent was like, look, we know that you love the job. We know that you love your career and you have all the work. But now you have to sit back and just do auditions because you can't be seen on that TV show or on that movie that you're possibly could be casted in. They don't want to take that chance. So it's hard sitting back and being like, oh, I know there's a lot of jobs out there. Can I just take one? Can I just do it?
Right, absolutely. And I would think that being in the military for 12 years, the discipline that you obviously, you know, were around in the military, you obviously have to be very disciplined in the industry of entertainment, movies, and television as well.
Yes, you do. You have to know when to talk and who to talk to and how to talk to them.
Sure.
You can't go up to the director or the producer in the middle of a movie set or in the middle of a TV show that you're doing and be like, hey, I'm blah, 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 blah. I'm trying to get this and I'm trying to do that. You can't do that because then they're going to be like, yeah, you're blacklisted. See you later.
Yeah, exactly. No more from you. Read the hand.
More from you.
I'm going to shift gears on you because I can. So these are what I call the curveball questions because I want my audience to know who you are more as a person than just the actor. We'll get back to all the acting projects here in a moment. But having experienced the show with me in the past, you probably might remember some of these curveballs. If you don't worry. I've changed them up anyway.
Don't ask me any.
If you could win an Olympic medal for any sport, real or fake, other than martial arts, so I'm going to put that discipline in there, that disclaimer, what would it be?
Ooh, I would have to say snowboarding.
Snowboarding. Oh, that's an interesting. Do you have, but is something like that written in your contracts and agreements that you can't do certain things at certain times for fear of like breaking a leg?
Yes, I do, believe it or not.
Okay, I just want to make sure. We were actually talking about that Thursday night. If a movie was made about your life, who would you like to see star playing you?
Oh, wow.
See, that's why I ask the tough questions around here.
Right.
I am a professional. Do not try this at home. That should be a good question for you, too. Who's that? Say again?
Ethan Hawke.
Oh, Ethan Hawke.
Great actor, by the way. And
I
yeah, I
saw
can
that.
see that. I can see that.
I have a story about Ethan Hawke, and I'll have to bring that up later.
Oh, bring it up now if you'd like to.
Yeah,
It's
bring
okay.
it up.
So, on the set of Magnificent Seven, I was actually casted as a gunslinger, just a regular featured background. It was a reoccurring role on the movie. 2 weeks into it, Ethan Hawke and Chris Pratt came up to me and said, "Hey, you need another stand-in, and you look just like Chris Pratt." And I was like, sure. So the role of being his stand-in throughout the whole movie.
Wow.
Well, we wrapped up. We were filming this in New Mexico. We wrapped up, and the night of the wrap, Ethan Hawke, Chris Pratt, my brother, and 2 other females, they brought us out to drink. Well, just needless to say, they can drink. It was an enjoyable night. They took our cell phones. They took our keys. You know, we couldn't film anything. We couldn't take pictures. So I can't even be like, "Hey, look, this is me," or "Hey, I'm with Ethan Hawke," or "Hey, and this is that." But it's just the memories of, I've worked with so many famous people, just having that memory, and yeah, it's awesome.
So you have stories of real things that happen, but just no proof. I've been there. I've got a couple myself that you can't even talk about because they wouldn't believe you anyway.
That's right. I was once built like Lou Ferrigno. Prove me otherwise. But anyway, what's your favorite meal, top to bottom, starting with appetizer?
Ooh.
Top to bottom, that sounded weird.
That's what she said.
Yes.
I would have to say appetizer would be calamari.
Okay.
Very good.
The ring. Wait a minute. The rings or the bodies?
Oh.
I have to go with the ring.
Okay. I hate the bodies. Give me the rings all day long. But okay. All right. Good.
Top meal. Eggplant parmesan.
Very
Okay.
good. That's
Okay.
good.
Skin or no skin on the eggplant?
Ooh, that's a toss-up. It depends on the chef.
Okay. What kind of pasta next to that?
I would have to say either penny pasta or Alfredo.
Okay. Garlic bread, plain bread, or garlic knots? You think I've done this a few times
I
in
would
asking
think,
these questions.
holy man. Chef.
I would have to say garlic bread.
Okay. Favorite adult beverage with the meal?
Oh, and I would have to go with a glass of Merlot.
Okay. And dessert?
It starts with a.
Is she dressed or not dressed?
I'm sorry?
I said, is she dressed or not dressed? I think that would be the consideration for dessert.
I was on the same wavelength, Anthony. I was on the same wavelength.
On that note, we're going to
I was going to say it differently, but yes.
Wanda Burnett. Yes. On that note, we're going to step aside for our second break of the show here. When we come back on the other side, more questions, more particular about the current project that Anthony's working on, and see what he's got cooking, and more of these silly little questions, and maybe a little discussion about Burt Bacharach, because he's a gentleman that we lost this past week at the age of 94. He's only written a few songs that probably half the world are familiar with. Anyway, you're watching Aaron's Hour. Don't go anywhere. Why? Because Anthony said so. We'll be right back.
Anxiety, depression, PTSD, ADHD, pain, inflammation, dealing with mental or physical health issues, or know someone who is? Relax, refresh, recover, revive. Natural health alternatives using hemp-derived CBD and other cannabinoids found in hemp are increasingly becoming more effective in managing various symptoms that affect your body, state of mind, and daily life. Planet Harvest Health's mission is to help those looking for natural, new, and better solutions for a healthier way of life, specializing in small batch, handcrafted alternatives, providing higher quality and a cost-effective product. Go to planetharvesthealth.com for more information and education.
Are you looking for someone to provide training to your staff? Do you need a motivational speaker about how to handle change? Do you have an upcoming event that needs an MC to handle those responsibilities? Well, look no further than longtime Las Vegas radio personality Aaron Phillips. I am local to Las Vegas, and I can blend my talents with any audience. For more information, please visit www.aaronphillipsvoice.com and book me for your next event or training needs.
All right, welcome back to Aaron's Hour with Aaron Phillips. Sitting in next to me here is my special guest in studio co-host.
The mouth.
The mouth, Anthony. No, he's up there. You know what? He keeps this up. I'd rather have Anthony sitting next to me. Anthony Pagliaro, George Miklos sitting next to me here. And you have something you wanted to ask him about In Plain Sight?
Yeah, I did, Anthony. I noticed one of your credits was In Plain Sight. And you mentioned New Mexico earlier. I auditioned for that show right the first season, 2008, 2009, before anybody really knew what it was going to be like. And this may have happened to you on this or some other set. When I went on this audition, I auditioned for a drug dealer, and when the agent says tall, dark, and handsome, of course, they submitted me, one of 100. Right. So I auditioned to do this scene. And of course, you never hear back anyway, unless you get it. Don't call us, we'll call you. So I don't know, a couple months in TV series too, when you audition for a film or a TV series, it's usually filmed right away, and within 3 or 4 weeks, it's on TV. Now, I auditioned for a drug dealer. I read the scene. And about, I don't know, maybe a month later, by happen chance, I was channel surfing. And boom, In Plain Sight pops up. I think, cool. I mean, I didn't really watch that much. And it just so happened, just by pure luck, the actual episode that I auditioned for. And the guy that had gotten the part was a short, blonde surfer dude. I'm thinking, well, wait a second.
Gnarly.
My agent sends me out on an audition, said tall, dark, and this and that. And then, of course, I look at the episode, and it's a guy that's 5'8", surfer dude, blonde hair. Hey, dude, what's up, dude? I'm thinking, man, and of course, Hollywood can do whatever they want. They can change the scene or the character if they feel like it. But I was ticked off for a few seconds, just for a few seconds.
Because you didn't look good in a Speedo, that's why.
Right. Well, that too. But have you ever had anything happen to you like that before?
Yes, I know exactly what you're saying. They send you I actually happened about 2 weeks ago. I got an audition, and it was for an African American, Native American, 40 to 50-year-old male. Didn't say anything about hair. Didn't say anything about the look. Just that. And I had to read the part of a sex therapist. So I did the audition. I sent it in. Of course, I didn't hear back, which I kind of figured because I'm not African American and I'm not Native American. So I do it just to do it, just for the experience, to get the experience. Right. So I watched the episode. Female. It was a female. They had a blonde female running the part as a sex therapist.
Yeah, maybe they, and I guess sometimes when you're in an audition room, and I remember I auditioned for The Sopranos a couple times in the beginning. And there was my agent says, yeah, you're going to go into the office and sit there and audition. I walk in the room, there's 20 other guys that look just like me. They're all in the corner going, hey, what the hell? Hey, what the fuck? Doing their practicing their line. I'm thinking there's no way in hell I'm going to get this. And I did. I did one episode of Sopranos the first season.
All right.
So you just never know.
Were you a consigliere?
Yeah, just, I got killed within the first 30 seconds anyway.
There you go.
So it didn't really matter. But, when you walk into a room and you see 20 other people that look just like you, they might have the same resume, the same martial arts experience, and you just don't know what they're looking for that day. You just luck of the draw most of the time.
Well, and nowadays, you don't even walk into a room. You're doing it on a laptop, or you're doing it on your phone. You don't have faces with that. You don't have the surroundings. You're just doing it off.
Do you like doing auditions from home? I mean, I'm not a big fan of them because you don't need to be seen or heard like you would in person.
Exactly. You can't really. It's hard, but it's good at the same time. You can memorize. It helps memorize lines, of course.
Right.
But you don't get the interaction of the people around you. You don't get the interaction of the people watching you. You just have yourself, you have your phone, and you have a reader. And sometimes you don't even have a reader. So
right.
It's about the energy, I would think, right?
Yeah. Over the camera, definitely. You have to portray it now. Now they're watching TV, watching you instead of being in front of you.
Right. Yeah, and in a small note, that's why I like doing these shows live, because we feed off the energy of a guest knowing that we're on live,
right.
Or sometimes we get people from that come in with guests and friends and they're here in the studio. So I actually hi, Nicole Vegas. Hello, Patrick. I love the fact that live energy when you have that.
Oh, we're live? We're live? Hold on a minute.
Yeah, be right back.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Be right back. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. No, but for sure, it's a definite energy thing. All right, let's change gears. You now are represented by Daphne Matthews Talent Management, and you are now working on a project called Shattered Dreams: The Leslie Voss Story. Tell us about that.
I can't really say too much, I was told by her. But it's based on a true story. An young Reed that was the first in the state. He was framed for a crime he didn't commit.
Okay.
He was 17 years old when this happened. It was back in the day when black and whites didn't get along.
Okay.
And I'm going to be playing one of the prison guards, and it's going to be a very hard role to play because I know his story. I've met him personally. I've talked to him, and I have to use a lot of words that are hard to say.
Right. I was going to say not common for you. Gotcha.
And I'm just hoping, as you might know too, I just hope I don't get typecasted from this role. But I mean, it's a good thing if I did. I just don't want to be the racist one that always gets typecast. So
that can be a double-edged sword. I get it. There's roles that you might get, and all of a sudden, I get typecast quite a bit. Cops, prison guards, lawyers, mob guys, definitely.
You're not a short white Jewish guy?
Right. I don't mind that because I work. But God forbid I got to the next level where I got a famous role. And there's a lot of actors out there that can attest to this, that once they get typecast and the show that you're on for 10 or 15 years ends, people, that's all they know you. And when they see you in something else, they can't get over the fact that you were this other character forever. So it can be a double-edged sword.
I mean, Adam West had to fight that after Batman, even though he was a B-movie Western guy, but everybody just saw him as Batman after the show ended. Henry Winkler as the Fonz. I mean, for all those years afterwards.
George Reeves, Superman, the original.
Yep, exactly.
He, in fact, committed suicide because of it. He couldn't get another role, and people would laugh in the studio when they were seeing him in another role, and all of a sudden they would be going up, up, and away, and all the Superman stuff, and it got irritating.
Sure, absolutely. But like you said, on the other hand, go ahead, Anthony.
I just worked with two actors that are really well known for Supernatural, Jared Padalecki and Jensen Ackles.
Oh, okay.
I just got done working with Jensen on Big Sky, and the first time I saw him, I was like, "It's Jensen."
Right. And that's only that.
Yeah. Because Supernatural is my all-time, hands-down favorite show. And I wanted to get on that show so bad, just to meet him and talk to him. And then I actually got to work with him on Big Sky. I was his stand-in, along with another stand-in. And it was just, he's totally chill, totally tough, likes to have fun. He's always making, jokes on set. Him in front of the camera is a totally different story.
Like you just said, when you worked with him on this project, he was nothing like the other character. You were able to look past all that and see him in a different role.
Correct.
You have to at that point, right? All right, here come a couple of curveballs at you before we go to our final break of the show. Number one, if money were no object, what kind of car would you like to see parked in front of your house, presuming you don't already have it?
I wish I had it. I would have to say a Nissan Skyline GTR.
Okay, that sounds nice. Favorite bucket list vacation location, which I realize after serving in the Air Force may be somewhat limited. Maybe it's a place you want to go back to, but where's someplace you'd like to vacation on your list?
Believe it or not, I would have to say Australia.
Okay.
Man, we think the same. Man, exactly what I was going to say is Australia.
Can you speak Australian?
I do not. I can't talk all that.
On the Bobby?
Foster's, that's all I know. But anyway, I guess so. I guess you probably could be. What's your favorite music genre?
My all-time favorite music genre would have to say Ray Charles.
Okay. I was going to say it takes care of my question. Who's your favorite artist? What is your all-time favorite song so that when it comes on your radio while you're driving around town, you are at a red light safely, music comes on, you don't care what anybody looks like, you're bebopping, looking like you're just trying to get out of spider webs. What song is that you enjoy?
Believe it or not, it's a Christian song.
Okay.
And kind of helps me mellow out, kind of helps me relax, and it really makes me think. They actually made a movie about it. I can only imagine.
Right on. Okay. One more question, then we'll go to break. And I'm going to give you a little hint here. I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but who is your favorite superhero? Batman? Superman?
Geez. If you answer this one, Anthony, the way I'm expecting it to go, I don't know, man.
Ooh, I would have to say Iron Man.
Oh, okay. There you go. Mic drop or phone drop.
Well, thanks for coming, Anthony. I'm
That
going to
was
put you
it.
on
Bye-bye.
hold, but if it sounds like a dial tone, you just keep hanging there, okay?
Right. Right.
Actually, I gave you only two choices, Batman or Superman, but leave it to him, an upstate New York military guy going outside
Iron
my
Man.
choices. But anyway, listen, we're going to hold it right there. When we come back, we're going to wrap up with Anthony, throw some more questions of crazy stuff, get a Super Bowl prediction if he has one, and then we'll wrap up with George and I and Anthony, and we'll wish you a happy week. Anyway, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Anxiety, depression, PTSD, ADHD, pain, inflammation, dealing with mental or physical health issues or know someone who is? Relax, refresh, recover, revive. Natural health alternatives using hemp-derived CBD and other cannabinoids found in hemp are increasingly becoming more effective in managing various symptoms that affect your body, state of mind, and daily life. Planet Harvest Health's mission is to help those looking for natural, new, and better solutions for a healthier way of life, specializing in small batch, handcrafted alternatives, providing higher quality and a cost-effective product. Go to planetharvesthealth.com for more information and education on how we can help you.
All right, welcome back to Aaron's Hour with Aaron Phillips. Anthony Pagliaro here, still with us. God only knows why he needs to get a life, but he's hanging in there with us. Do you have a pen and paper sitting there wherever you're at there?
No, I do not. So we're here.
All right. Well, the reason I asked our producer during the commercial break, because you mentioned Supernatural, wanted me to tell you to check out a YouTube show called Hillywood.
The Hillywood Show.
The Hillywood, like Hollywood, but with an I. The Hillywood Show on YouTube, because apparently they've done a couple of spoofs on Supernatural, and he says you will thoroughly enjoy it.
Okay, I'll have to look at
Huge surprise.
And a huge surprise, like what do they call those? Easter eggs? Is that what they call them?
Yeah, huge.
But you know what? The last suggestion he gave me, I fell asleep on, so take it for what that's worth. Anyway, anyway, all right.
Dial tone.
Yeah, that's all right. Exactly. Batman, not Iron Man. Anyway, when does filming start for you, or is it already in production?
So this one won't start until the end of March and beginning of April.
Okay, so not too far down. And what's the target date for it to be released in the theaters or streaming? How will people be able to eventually see it?
As I know right now, it's only going to be streaming. We're hoping to get into theaters.
Okay, eventually down the line.
That's one thing good about today's Hollywood and filmmaking, Anthony, is that there's more avenues now for us, or independent directors, actors. You've got Hulu, Amazon Plus, Prime Video,
Worldwide Digital
HBO,
Broadcasting.
Yes, WWDBTV. But yeah, we have all these other avenues now where we can be seen, even in streaming. And now, movie theaters are not what they used to be now anymore. So all these movie studios are now finding other ways. In fact, I was letting Aaron know last night, and John, that I watched a film with J-Lo in it, but it was 2023. It was brand new. I'd never heard of it, but it was a Netflix and an Amazon Prime. They're doing their own stuff now. So you don't really have to worry about movie studios as much anymore. I mean, you have all these other avenues.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do since the pandemic, when we couldn't go to movie theaters. These studios had to do something and provide entertainment. So any movies that might have been in the can or were just about wrapping up, they still wanted to get them out there.
Do it on the internet.
So they just threw it up on the internet or any other streaming service. So I think that's as much a microcosm as a society as it is. What other projects do you have lined up at this point besides the one you can't tell us about?
So believe it or not, February 3rd, about a week ago, about almost a week ago, The Locksmith came out, and I worked with Ving Rhames and Kate Bosworth and Ryan Felipe on that one. I was featured and standing on that one. As I haven't really decided yet. Might have to okay it with my agent, my manager, but I might be taking one last cage fight, one last one, just to say, just to give it a hurrah.
Wow.
Wow, you're still, and you're in today's world, athletes like yourself are doing 40 years old. I mean, in today's world in athletics, you can actually play or do that kind of stuff at that age. So how do you feel physically about all that stuff? Do you still able to do all that when you go into a cage and do that and feel as good as you did 10, 15 years ago?
I would say the recovery might take a little bit longer.
Right.
Just a wee bit.
Oh, I get that for sure.
But as far as the feeling and training, no, there's not really a big difference. I mean, I think I've learned, like I said in the beginning, it's a lot more patience. And instead of just going in there and trying to knock out the guy or trying to submit him right away, it's learning him, learning the situation, and taking
Right.
time.
Right. I get that. That's for sure. I was more of a team sport guy, football, basketball, and track. I never was a big wrestler or anything like that. I had a friend of mine who was a state championship wrestler, but I could never have my face in some guy's armpit. I just never liked that. Just never did. And have my foot or have the cage along, your legs around and your face is in his crotch. It just never appealed to me in that way.
I'm seeing a whole new show coming on real soon.
Right.
Anyway, give us some contact information so our folks can reach out to you, connect with you, etc. Let them know how to find you.
You can find me on Facebook at Anthony Thunton, Instagram tapout8363. I am also on Snapchat as TapGunMav33. And I have my link tree on my Instagram and Facebook as well.
Right on. All right. A couple other crazy questions, and then we'll call it a wrap, so to speak. See what I did there? Call it a wrap.
Call it a wrap. That's good.
Right. I am a professional, at least in my own mind. Anyway, here's a question for you about a procedure. Do you put your cereal in the bowl before or after the milk?
Before.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. Well, why would you even? Who puts the milk in before the cereal?
There's somebody out there, I guarantee you, that does it. So,
okay.
What superpower would you like to have, and why?
Ooh. Believe it or not, I know a lot of guys would probably disagree or agree with this one, but I would like to know what women think.
Oh, I was going to say X-ray vision.
That's what I was thinking, but
not
yours is not bad.
X-ray.
Exactly. Holy cow. What was your favorite subject to study in school?
Ooh, believe it or not, with math.
Really?
What was it?
Math.
Oh, math. That's right. That's up my wheelhouse.
Is it really?
Yeah, I have a degree in mathematics.
Well, that's,
I can add, subtract, multiply, and divide with the best of them. That's all I could do.
I was always English and spelling. Yeah.
As a math guy, though, people come to me to do spell check. I can pick up typos like it's no problem.
Like $6 million man.
It's crazy. It just zeroes in on that. What cartoon character do you wish was real?
Ooh. Going old school on this one.
I was just. God, he's still in.
I don't know if you heard our producer, but he said Jessica Rabbit.
And that's what I was
thinking the same thing.
Wow.
See, great minds think alike or sick minds think alike, whichever you want to look at it.
What is the least useful thing that you own?
Least useful?
Well, something that for some people, it's a treadmill. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You own a treadmill. It's a very expensive closet. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So.
That's a good question. Believe it or not, I would have to say my hand weight.
His what?
My hand weight.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Hand. Now, see,
just let it go. Don't. No. Down boy.
I wasn't even going to go.
Down boy. Holy cow! What's your least favorite household chore?
Oh boy. I would have to say laundry.
Dusting for me. I don't mind the laundry.
Yeah.
Dusting sucks.
Toilets is for me.
Yeah.
Last question. We actually, my wife and I have a split chore. She takes care of the stove. I have to do the toilet. I scrub the toilet.
And, and even that's not a big deal. At least it's not like a jail toilet.
No, that's very true.
Yeah.
But that's why I have a cleaning lady comes in every 2 weeks because I don't want to do it anymore. It's worth paying somebody.
Honey,
to come
did you hear that?
Give me the name of somebody.
And while your wife's at work.
Right.
That's right, exactly. Yeah, hello, is this a working, honey?
French maids topless. Clean your house.
Who is that?
You need to end this soon.
I'm trying to get out of it real quickly. All right, last serious curveball, then we'll wrap up. When the day comes that you're standing at the pearly gates and the maitre d' is there to welcome you in, what is it you want to hear them say to you as they welcome you into the pearly gates?
Maitre d'? They have one?
Say it again.
I'm proud of you.
There you go. Well said. Well said. Well,
Now, when you say maitre d', is that St. Peter? Is that
whoever you want it to be,
who-
because for everybody, it could be a different maitre d'. That's why I generalize it.
right? Okay.
Whoever you want greeting you at the door, and of course, I'm presuming not the hot place. I'm assuming the pearly
Right.
gates, where
Right.
they have air conditioning. But anyway, by the way, you also know who Burt Bacharach was, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you had to have grown up in a lot of his music like we did. He had 74 top 40 hits in his career.
Incredible. I couldn't even. Yeah.
Passed away this past week at 94 from natural causes. So suffice it to say that he lived a long, healthy life. He had 3 marriages. But I know I'm really putting you on the spot here, and you don't have it. If you can't come up with one, that's totally cool. But can you think of a Burt Bacharach song or not screenplay? What do they do for movies?
Score.
Score, thank you.
Movie score.
Musical score. That may be something that comes to mind for Burt Bacharach for you?
Off the top of my head, not really, no.
Okay. Dionne Warwick, he did a lot of work with,
Yes.
of course.
When I was a kid, my mom, we had an 8-track player in the car back then, of course. But
8 tracks.
Right.
Holy cow. He wasn't even
he wasn't
born
even
for 8
around.
tracks.
Right. But no, raindrops keep falling on my head.
Yep.
Every
Which came out of what movie?
You see that one?
Oh my God, I can't.
Butch
I don't-
Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Okay, that's right.
Yep.
When I was a kid, it was such a happy song, even though I'm not sure what the lyrics were happy. Sometimes you hear songs that make you happy that the lyrics are really the opposite.
Right.
But as a kid, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, that song my sister and I was always start bebopping around the living room when we heard that song. So
That was a good song. Listen,
Yeah.
the guy has touched more music in his years of being involved in the industry and with artists. He had those, by the way, those top 40 songs he had was not only here in the US, but also in the UK.
right.
He was also very prominent in writing songs back there as well. All right. With that, Anthony, I want to thank you so much for taking time away from being home in upstate New York with friends and family to join us today and share with us what's going on and some of your background. And of course, as more and more news of this project comes out, we'll be happy to share it with you and get you back on we'll add this as part of your media stop. Or is that what they call it when you have to stump for movies? Is that what they call
Right.
it now?
Yeah, right.
When it's ready to
The
rock and
junket,
roll.
whatever they
The
call it.
junket, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And if your talent agency is looking for a poor white Jewish radio guy on their staff, I
right.
know somebody.
Well, that's me too.
Well, I mean, you're not Jewish. Yeah, that's right. Your mom, yeah, but
yeah.
you play.
I'm Jewish.
Oh, shut up! back
Oh
there.
my God.
Jeez Louise.
I'm sorry, couldn't resist.
All right, Anthony, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. George is always my friend. Always fun sharing the mic with you, sir.
Always, and I appreciate the invite. And Anthony, I enjoyed meeting you. Maybe we can, off camera, later on, or maybe down the road, get to know each other a little better.
Yes, definitely, most definitely. Maybe next time I'll be sitting in the middle of both of you guys.
I want that.
That
You
would
better
be
let
awesome.
me. You better let me know the next time you're in town. We're going to make that happen. All right.
Come on down.
We'd love for that to happen. All right. So, George, final thoughts as we say goodbye for this week on Aaron's
Well,
Hour?
we didn't ask Anthony about football, about the Super
Oh,
Bowl
yeah. Are you
tomorrow,
still
the
the
big game?
Sorry about that. Chiefs or Eagles, real fast.
I'm wearing green. Got to go Eagles.
All right, Eagles. Sorry.
I agree with you, Anthony. I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles tomorrow.
As a Giants fan, it's really hard for me to root for the Eagles. I really am rooting for a good game is really what I'd like to see. I don't want to remember tomorrow just for the commercials, but I guess I have to lean towards the Eagles. So
who's the running back for the 49ers? McCaffrey?
Yeah.
He said he hopes both teams lose.
Well,
Okay.
I
That's
guess
what he
that can
said.
happen. I don't know. Anything can happen. All right, final thoughts as we say goodbye.
like I've always say on the round table, keep your head above water. I know we're all struggling out there. Just take one day at a time, guys, and just keep on moving.
Absolutely, especially since I want to make sure you're all back here watching Aaron's Hour next week. New trend, I like going out on really bad jokes. Why not? So before I give my sign off, did you hear about the emotional wedding?
No, I did not hear about the emotional wedding.
You sounded just like Ed McMahon. Even the cake was in tears. With that, be kind to everybody. What? Tears, emotional? If I have to explain this stuff, it doesn't work.
Yeah. It took me a second.
Anyway, have a great week, everybody, from Aaron's Hour. As I always like to say, be kind to everybody. Why is that? We're all we have. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.